In a mystic temple called the Rock of Eternity, in a different dimension, an ancient wizard named Shazam possesses a great number of superhuman powers. Due to his old age, he is no longer strong enough to protect the realm from the 7 deadly sins. Shazam is looking for a new champion to inherit his magic and carry on the duties of protecting the realm. Shazam uses his power to bring a young boy named Savannah into his temple. Before he was transported, Savannah was being continuously ridiculed by his father and elder brother while traveling to another place. When Savannah is brought into the temple, he is amazed at the sight of the entire temple. Shazam tells him everything regarding why he was brought into the temple. Savannah is mesmerized to hear that he will be inheriting so much power and magic. But before he can get his hands on it, Shazam tells Savannah he has to prove that he has a pure heart and a strong spirit. The sculptures of the 7 deadly sins nearby begin to talk and lure Savannah into taking the magical eye in order to get a great amount of power. Shazam stops Savannah and deems him unworthy of being a champion, since he can't control his temptation. Shazam teleports Savannah back to the car he was in with his father and brother. Savannah begins to yell about everything and how he wants to go back. Savannah's continuous shouting and yelling causes the family to get into an accident. Savannah makes it out safe, although his father is injured severely. Savannah gets a message on his 8-ball toy from the 7 deadly sins to seek them out. Many years later, a 14-year-old foster child named Billy is always looking for some trouble. He has made up a habit of always abandoning those who have adopted him. Billy was separated from his mother 10 years ago at a carnival. Ever since then, Billy has been unable to find his mother. He has tried every way to locate where she is living, but to no avail. Billy still believes in his heart that his mother is out there and will be reunited with him someday. However, child support services can't let Billy roam around the city. Billy is taken in by Victor and Rosa, who run a group home. The group home has 5 other foster children: Eugene, Darla, Mary, Pedro, and Freddie. Freddie is going to be Billy's roommate for the time being. Freddie is a superhero fanatic, and Billy is already annoyed about how he will be spending most of his time in this group home. Savannah, now an adult, has set up his own facility, where he has been interviewing individuals from all over the world who were transported to the Rock of Eternity and were potential candidates for inheriting the powers of Shazam. Savannah has noticed that every single individual that was transported saw several symbols around them before they could be teleported. After interviewing the latest person to come out of the Rock of Eternity, Savannah finally finds the right sequence of symbols that will send him back to the Mystic Temple. When Savannah reaches the temple, he confronts a much older Shazam. Savannah wastes no time in getting control of the magical eye, which allows the 7 deadly sins to be released. The eye fuses with Savannah's body, and he becomes a vessel of the 7 deadly sins. Savannah beats down Shazam, overpowers him instantly, and leaves. Meanwhile, Freddy still bugs Billy with his vast superhero knowledge. Billy still hasn't shown much interest in his new foster siblings. After school is over, 2 bullies decide to pick on Freddy. Despite having no affection towards Freddy, Billy still stands up for him and fends off the bullies. Billy is then able to outrun the bullies as he uses a subway to escape a beatdown. What happens next changes Billy's life forever. The subway is magically transported to the Rock of Eternity, and Shazam is now taking one last try to find the next champion. Before he can hand over his magic and powers to Billy, Shazam decides to teach him the history of the Rock of Eternity. Shazam explains that the Rock of Eternity is home to 7 thrones of 7 wizards. A long time ago, a wrong champion was chosen, who used his powers for revenge and released the 7 deadly sins into the world. Shazam then vowed to only hand over his powers to the one whose heart would be pure. Billy isn't sure if he is the right guy to carry the powers. Shazam admits that he has no one left, and he doesn't have much time. Shazam asks Billy to place his hand on Shazam's staff and say his name out loud. Billy hesitantly does, and when he utters the word Shazam, he miraculously turns into a strong-looking adult with different superpowers. Billy is not only shocked, but scared to see what has happened to him. Before he can question anything, Shazam disintegrates and passes away. Billy is transported back to his world and hurries to his group home. He calls Freddy outside, and Freddy freaks out, seeing an adult in a superhero costume. When Freddy asks for some proof that the man in the superhero costume is actually Billy, Billy reveals that he stole Freddy's Superman collectible item. Freddy is fascinated to see what Billy has become. Billy finds out that he possesses an insane number of superhuman strengths. He is able to stop a robbery in a matter of seconds. Freddy later sneaks Billy back into the house, without anyone noticing Billy in his new state. Unfortunately, Darla finds out everything, so Billy makes her promise to not tell anyone about it. When Billy utters the word Shazam again, he comes back to his normal version. Meanwhile, Savannah enters the head office of his father's company and wastes no time in throwing his brother out of the building. Savannah uses his powers to quickly end the entire board, including his own father. Savannah is informed by the deadly sins that the former Shazam has found his new champion, and Savannah should quickly find and end him before he can interfere. The next day, Billy and Freddy sneak out of school early to test the different superpowers of Billy's superhero persona. Both of them have fun in finding out what different powers Billy possesses. Freddy even makes videos of the superpower test and uploads them to YouTube. The videos begin to go viral on the internet. One day, Billy sneaks out of school early in order to busk for money on the streets. All of a sudden, he notices Mary not walking carefully on the road, and he saves her from getting into a deadly accident. Billy doesn't let Mary know that he is in his superhero persona. Billy finds Mary distraught over the fact that she has gotten into the college she wanted to get into, but she can't leave her family, as she loves them so much. Billy advises her to only think of herself, but Mary disapproves of it. Later that day, while Billy is performing and entertaining several people using his lightning powers, he inadvertently strikes a bus with lightning, but he saves it just in time before it can fall off the bridge. Just when Billy thought his life had got better, Savannah arrives and orders Billy to surrender his powers. Billy doesn't take Savannah seriously, but when Savannah begins to overpower Billy continuously, Billy realizes that he is dealing with a completely different person. Billy is able to escape Savannah and heads back home. Savannah abducts Freddy and forces him to tell Savannah everything about Billy. Victor and Rosa are furious over the fact that Billy has consistently shown no affection towards his new family and has kept on running away. The rest of the group home children watch the television news and see a clip of Freddy arguing with Billy in his Shazam persona. Mary points out the similarities between the conversation between Freddy and Shazam on TV with that of the conversation between Freddy and Billy. Mary also points out that Shazam already knew what her name was and where she lived. Mary deduces that Billy might be Shazam, and before anyone can say anything, Darla admits that Billy is indeed Shazam. All of the kids go to Billy's room to confront him. What Billy hears next changes his life forever. Eugene, despite being just a kid, has phenomenal computer skills. He informs him that he has found the address of Billy's mother. The reason Billy was never able to find her is that she reverted to her maiden name. Billy wastes no time heading towards his mother, as she only lives a few blocks away. Victor and Rosa head after him. Meanwhile, Savannah arrives at the group home with Freddy, and the kids are frightened to see him. Billy finally finds what he has been seeking for the past few years. He appears before his mother and he couldn't be more elated. However, Billy's mother isn't very excited to see him. Billy's mother explains that she did find Billy, but decided to let go of him as she was dealing with her own troubled life. She thought that Billy would have been better off without her, and child support services could have done a better job in raising him. Billy is heartbroken, and he now understands that his group home is his real family. Before he can leave, Billy receives a phone call from Freddy, but it turns out to be Savannah. He orders Billy to come home, for the sake of his foster siblings' lives. Billy rushes to his group home in his superhero persona, and Savannah tells Billy to come to the Rock of Eternity, otherwise his new brothers and sisters will feel the wrath of the deadly sins. Savannah takes the staff of the old wizard, and orders Billy to pass on his powers to him. Despite being overpowered by Savannah's strength, Billy refuses. Much to his surprise, Billy's brothers and sisters also arrive at the temple at Billy's aid. They distract Savannah long enough for Billy to retreat with the staff. Billy and the rest of the kids leave the temple in time, and Savannah follows all of them to the carnival, where he begins to cause havoc. Savannah unleashes his deadly sins, and they try to get a hold of Billy so that he can transfer his powers into Savannah. Billy's siblings try their best in helping Billy in any way they can, but they are limited in terms of fighting Savannah and his deadly sins. Savannah finally takes control of Billy's sibling and tells Billy one last time to transfer his powers to him. Before Billy can do this, he remembers that the former Shazam told him there used to be a total of 7 wizards. Billy starts to think that there could be more than one champion. He snatches the staff from Savannah and asks his brothers and sisters to say the word, Shazam. Surprisingly, when they do, all 5 of them turn into superheroes as well. Billy's siblings take care of the sins at the carnival, while Billy decides to finish off Savannah once and for all. While fighting Savannah, Billy observes that Savannah becomes weak and vulnerable when all 7 sins leave his body. Billy notices that one sin has yet to come out of Savannah, and he forces it out of his body. Billy uses his lightning strike ability to zap that sin, and then takes control of Savannah, who is vulnerable now that all the sins have come out of his body. Billy takes out the magical eye from Savannah's face, and the remaining sins are forced to go back inside it. Billy and his siblings are hailed as heroes, and they place the magical eye back inside the temple. Freddy suggests that they should use the temple as their very own lair. Things never worked out for Savannah, as he is imprisoned. Billy finally accepts his foster home as his real family. Many days later, Billy appears as Shazam at his school to make Freddy look cool, as Freddy claimed that Shazam is his best friend. Billy further surprises everyone by inviting Superman to the school as well.